Hey everybody. Hey, listen, let's talk about appraisals for a minute. The market's been so evident and flowing the last few years that since 70% of the people have to get financing when they buy a piece of real estate, the appraisal is an intricate part of it. And what that means is, let's say in the normal negotiations, the house is on the market, maybe you pay asking price, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. So the meeting of the minds between the buyer and the seller are we agree on a price. So in our mind and in your mind as a buyer or seller, that's market value. So then what happens, Zev, when the appraisers come out, what do they do?
Yeah. So their job is to come out and to basically do a quick analysis. They walk through the house, takes about 10 to 15 minutes, snap photos and verify measurements, and then they go back to their desktop and see what has sold recently in a close proximity that's similar to that house and come up with what they believe is fair market value.
So when they get that, don't they know what the agreed upon price is that the buyer and seller? So they actually have a copy of the purchase agreement.
Yes.
So they know what you guys agreed to. Does that guarantee they appraise it for that price?
Unfortunately not. They're a third party that's basically trying to think what they see is happening in the market to try to get a fair market value, regardless of what we have.
Yeah, and I don't like that because you think, well, why are we going to have a problem? We agree that it's a good thing, the buyer, the seller, the agent. So Dom, what happens then if the appraisal, for some reason, their fair market value doesn't meet the purchase agreement fair market value between the buyer and the seller? They obviously agree and they feel it's a good value. So now the appraiser throws a wrench into it. What do you do when you work with the buyer? How do you solve it?
Right. Well, sometimes when that appraisal value comes in too low, the bank doesn't want to lend that purchase price amount because the appraiser doesn't think it's worth that amount.
But the buyer and the seller thought it was worth that.
Right, exactly. So there's a couple options you can go with. So one of the three, let's say you're the buyer and you're not going to get the lending for that certain purchase price you and the seller agreed upon. You might either have to agree to bring that money additionally to closing in cash to cover that difference.
What if I don't have it?
I'm going to explain the other two options here.
All right.
So the second option would be, all right, we renegotiate. Maybe you have a little bit of money saved up for this reason, and you split the cost with the buyer. Let's say it's $4,000. You come up $2,000, the seller comes down $2,000. Or the seller's, all right, okay, we agree. We're going to go ahead and go with the appraisal price and let's move forward. Or nobody makes a decision. You guys can't come to a meeting of the minds and you have to split up.
And then what does that mean? The deal or the transaction falls through, and then you got to start all over.
Yep.
So it's super important that keep in mind, don't take it too personally. The appraiser is a human being. They make mistakes. We always try to fight with them and get them to understand we believe it's fair market value if the buyer and seller agrees. But in closing, I would say, Zev, if someone has further questions for you or Dom, give us your contact information.
Yeah, so the best number to reach me at, you can call or text me at 330-933-3258.
Best number to reach me at is 330-234-6204.
And you can call or text me, Dominic, 330-418-1535. Send me an email, dominic@dominicfonte.com. Check out our team's reviews. We have over 435 5-star reviews. And check them out at dominicfonte.com.